What if it was purple?
Eric Andre needs no introduction. Comedian, prankster, actor, underground rap kingmaker, the heir to Iranian auteur Abbas Kiarostami. Okay, I'll get back to that last one later. The Eric Andre Show was a mainstay of Adult Swim throughout the 2010s and spawned 1,000 memes. In 2020, Adult Swim aired the 5th season of The Eric Andre Show, and in a few short months, Andre was going to bring his style of hidden camera absurdist comedy to the big screen in Bad Trip. Then COVID happened, and there weren't any big screens to put the film on. Then in 2021, Netflix bought the film and didn't put it on any big screens. The film is directed by Kitao Sakurai, who directed episodes of The Eric Andre Show, and written by Sakurai, Andre, and Dan Curry. This is the spiritual successor to the madness of the talk show, where Andre would laugh at people for falling down, annoy people on the train, or hump people on the street wearing a green screen costume. It's kind of surprising in this context that Bad Trip is probably one of the warmest, most life-affirming movies I've ever seen, one which takes its hidden camera setup and transcends the very prank itself. Let's unpack. The plot of the film is complete nonsense, doesn't really matter. The film follows Chris, a down-on-his-luck Floridian who spontaneously runs into his high school crush, Maria, who now runs an art gallery in New York City. Chris convinces his best friend Bud Malone to join him on a road trip to New York, where Chris will visit the gallery and declare his love for Maria. They steal a car that belongs to Bud's sister, Trina, who's serving time in prison. Unbeknownst to them, Trina actually escapes and is soon hot on their trail. If the plot sounds like complete nonsense, that's because it is complete nonsense. It's pretty much exclusively cliches and tropes from other movies stapled together as an excuse to get from one hidden camera prank set piece to the next. But here's the thing, everything is shot out in the open, down to the smallest bits of filler that get you from one location to the next. And these often contain some of the funniest moments.
God, the zoo? Come on, man, you know I love zoos. You gotta do this, bro.
I really don't know what it is, but this always gets me. Like, why is he so excited? So that's the main conceit, an entire movie shot in public with the public as participants, all while the plot is the most generic movie plot that you could imagine. And here's where the magic happens. Sakurai and Andre set up these scenes that in a movie would seem so contrived and on the nose and superfluous, like this one, where Andre's character is second guessing whether or not he should go to New York to find Maria. He sits down on this bench and starts talking to this random old guy who's no actor, he's just a sweet old man. And Andre tells him what's going on, and the guy gives the exact speech that you would hear if this was happening in a really crappy movie.
Go for it. If you don't, the rest of your life, you're going to be sitting here saying, what if I would've?
But this isn't a movie. This is real life. These things are really happening. There's something about this guy, this specific guy, and dozens of others like him that populate this movie. He doesn't know he's being filmed. He's not performing. He doesn't expect to get anything out of this, and he operates with this genuine warmth and kindness that you'd expect to see from an archetypal film character. And in the context of a prank movie, what is the prank here? At the end of the scene, Andre's character starts singing and jumps in a car, but there's no point where this gentleman is made to look the fool. He's just responding honestly to what's going on. And when they put that swelling music behind it, which is by the guy who did the score for Oppenheimer and Black Panther, by the way, he has an Oscar for each of those, and he did the music for this. When they put that music behind it, it feels like it's not even meant to be funny. It just is. And that's not how these prank movies usually work. Let's look at Borat, for instance. This is probably the most famous and the most successful iteration of this kind of movie. And the main joke of Borat is on the members of the public who participate. Borat prods them to get a reaction by being obnoxious and vaguely foreign. And these people reveal themselves as racist or out of touch or stupid or some combination of all of those. Lawsuits arose after the film was released when people realized just how badly they had come across on screen. And look, I'm not defending any of these people, but I think it's important to think about who has the power and control in this situation. Sacha Baron Cohen has control over where the camera goes, he has control over the edit, he has all the authority and all the power. And this is a fundamentally imbalanced dynamic. There are measured ways to do criticism or a nuanced kind of documentary filmmaking, but the reality is most people aren't thinking too deeply about this kind of stuff. How a member of the public comes across in this movie is how they are, at least according to the audience, which is a bigger group of people than that person could ever possibly meet in their entire life. And who is to say so over how those people are perceived by the audience? Well, the filmmakers, whether they get there through setting up the scenario, progressively goading them throughout the scene, or using deliberate editing and music cues to broaden their characterization, the ball is firmly in their court. And this is the darker side of some of the prank stuff that Andre and guys like him engage in. By capturing someone's image without their awareness, showing them in a moment of vulnerability or shock or anger, you can do demonstrable harm. Now look, maybe I'm going too deep with it for the kind of prank stuff you see in Eric Andre's work. He's not ruining anyone's life. You could argue he's capturing people in moments of vulnerability or emotional distress. You could claim some of the participants in his pranks are inebriated or homeless or going through some kind of distress that would bring doubt on their ability to fully give consent. I'm not going there. It's mostly, by and large, fairly harmless, silly stuff. What I'm struck by is how the prank context presents these people, these real human beings that populate Bad Trip, because through a series of wild pranks and absurd conversations, Andre and his team allow these people to be kind, to be funny, to be brave, to be fundamentally good people. And that's really interesting to me. The film is a road trip from Florida, where Andre is originally from, to New York City. It was shot across Florida, New York, California, and South Carolina. I think it's very telling that Andre starts this story in the place he grew up. There's a clear affection for the people in this area, who are the kind of people who don't get movies made about them. He's filming during the day in shopping malls, retail stores, public parks, family restaurants. He does a prank on a moving bus. These aren't fancy places. The people in this movie behave like they're in a movie. They fulfill archetypal roles. They draw out dramatic tension.
Take your ass off. You better take off. You better run.
And even though they act like they're in a movie, these aren't the kind of people you typically see in one. I look at the way Eric Andre is blending reality and fiction in this film, and it reminds me of the late Abbas Kiarostami, the foremost director of new Iranian cinema. Yep, that's where I'm going with this, bear with me. Kiarostami makes poetic films. They draw from the rich tradition of Iranian poetry, translating that art to the moving image. There's a deep connection with landscape, with nature, with questions of ethics and philosophy and morality that are constants in the great poets dating back to the 11th century. Kiarostami blends documentary and fiction, often by devising scenarios around real people, real experiences, and real communities. He hires non-actors to play versions of themselves, applying their real-life trade or living in their real-life village. Life and Nothing More is about a filmmaker and his son driving to the site of an earthquake to check up on a young actor and his family. The film was written immediately after a real earthquake and filmed in the actual aftermath. The locals cleaning up and putting things right are the real people, and there's something very beautiful and dignified about how he captures them. He uses long, slow shots and deliberately plays with rhythm and stillness to capture beauty and time. In Iran, the role of poetry and the poet has always been shown deep respect. Well, maybe not always. And Kiarostami's films magnificently reflect this, taking the lives and essence of real people and capturing them in a way that feels legitimately poetic. Bad Trip is not a Kiarostami film. At one point, the two main characters get their penises stuck in either end of a Chinese finger trap. That said, the way it captures people with dignity, and I guess you could say care, reflects something quite profound about American culture. While Kiarostami captures real people in the poetic voice of the great Persian poets, Eric Andre captures real people in the voice of Hollywood cliches. This is the grand meta-narrative, the text that underpins their lives. If it wasn't all subconscious, you'd call it a religion. The great American art form, for better or worse, the language of these people's lives. That's gone down a path, hasn't it? I know this movie is desperately trying not to be taken seriously, but I was so struck by so many moments in it, and the tone and mode of address and structure is so different from any of the movies in this ilk that I just find myself returning to it often and getting a lot out of it. It's a movie that was kind of dumped onto streaming by Netflix. I don't think it got the love it deserved at all. So please check it out if you haven't already. It's very good. It might not reaffirm your faith in humanity, or maybe it will.
He's in love.